Hey YouTube, it's Raven here. First, I'd like to thank you and welcome you into my safe space. Thank you for sharing time and space with me today. I appreciate you. So, today I want to chat about softness and how we can use it to be emotionally agile and have it as a strength, right? To ensure that our softness is not leaving us docile. It's not leaving us inactive in our ability to take action. I know for me personally, like I grew up soft. You know what I mean? Like it's in my nature to be, oof, this is a bit triggering, but to some extent a coddler, right? Someone who wants to ensure that you're okay, wants to ensure that you're good, and making sure a nurturer, right? When it's healthy. But on the extreme, on the opposite end of that spectrum, it could be someone who's coddling, right? Who's too timid for that other person or a thing to be of its own. You know what I mean? And so what I've noticed in that energy that I can emanate sometimes is that when it comes time for me to take action, and I'm not talking about the day-to-day things, I'm not talking about the little stuff like, okay, the things that are necessary, right? Not on those things. I'm talking about the big glorious goals that or dreams rather that only myself and God are aware of. Those, when it comes to taking action on those accounts, all of a sudden I got enough grace to go around. And one thing I want to be clear on is that grace is necessary. Like grace is rightfully ours. Like you are allowed and should by all means allow yourself grace in this human experience, right? Because yes, there's going to be things like perfection is not what we're striving for, right? We're, if anything, it's just to live, to progress, to be better, and to do better as we go along, as we learn, right? And grace is necessary in that journey. So absolutely, grace is a beautiful thing. In this instance, I'm talking about when grace feels enabling. You know what I mean? When it feels like you're being soft with yourself and maybe just too soft, because now it's impacting your vitality. It's impacting the magnitude behind your effort, and how quickly you are able to get from a mindset of like, oh, it's okay, like I'm just not ready, or it's okay that I take more time, it's okay that I keep pushing it back, it's okay that it not right now, maybe it's just not the season for that. I'm talking about when that becomes your narrative, right? So I don't want this to be mistaken for like you're broke down tired, or even not broke down tired, but just you've been working hard, you have been pushing, you have been doing your best, and you're telling yourself, hey, I need time, I'm gonna allow myself grace. If that's you, please, that's when it's healthy. Like I'm saying, like when it's just you've allowed yourself time. It's been days since you've gotten back into the gym. It's been days since you've made yourself a healthy and balanced meal. It's been weeks since you've done that thing that you know nurtures your soul. It's been months since you've been creative and allowed yourself the space and time to do what your inner child wants to do and create. Why? What's happening there that's keeping you in a place of inaction? And what I've noticed is when our comfortability becomes everything, right? Naturally so, because as humans we strive to be comfortable. We don't want to constantly be in a stage of like, oh, I need to take action, I need to grow, I need to adjust, and it's all of this constricting of growth that happens, and it's tiring, right? it's very natural to want to take pause, and that's okay. And so when we are in a new season of I've taken my rest, I've given myself time, I've meditated, I've really went inward and poured into myself. I found those nooks and crannies that needed life. After taking that time of rest, how do we move towards action? How do we ensure that our softness is reflected as support? So I've identified my softness as, it's just me trying to show myself support, right? So that looks like, oh, I want to push that date back. I know I said I would create this by this date, but not right now. It's not the season for it. Using that as an example, when I say things like that to myself, it's because I feel I don't have support or the resources to make that thing happen. Or really just that I'm feeling overly anxious and I'm not allowing myself time to like ground myself in the practicality of what it takes to make that said goal happen. Because a lot of times there's enough simplicity to it that you truly can take action. You can take action on that day, no matter how small, but it's action that's fruitful. But while staying in our heads, we find every reason to allow ourselves more time and more space away from the things that we know would catapult our growth, or that would get us steps closer to our goal. And it's that lack of action that makes us feel at a loss of how to keep moving forward. Like when we finally do want to take action, you may notice that like I still feel like I'm not doing enough. It's that language that it's a cycle that's ever going, because now you're telling yourself, dang, I could be doing more right now, but I'm not. But I'm trying. It's that story that we tell ourselves, and it's like, okay, how can we become focused in our efforts so that this narrative is not going on? Because if you truly are doing what you can, if you truly are putting in the effort, what is the use? What is the benefit of a narrative that talks down to you? How is that working? How does that apply to what you're trying to strive for? If you're constantly beating down the effort that you do give, and you're constantly critiquing every little thing, and it's impacting your effort on the other hand, then it's like, and not in a good way, right? It's making you shy away from the things. It's making you want to do it less, because every time it comes time to do it, you have this nasty narrative that, just like a child, who wants to do something they're being screamed at for? Who wants to do something that they're constantly told that they're crappy at? No one. Like no one. And that's how we have to look at it, is when it comes time to take action, how would you support in this? Take this as you will. It's not in any way of like talking down to you, but how would you talk to a child? They need support. You know that they're capable, but when they're learning something new, or when they're trying at something that they love, and it's the experience is in a new cycle or a new season where they're growing and they need support, you'll give that to them, right? Like you'll get them the resources that they need to make it happen. Otherwise, you sit in this dip of, I want to take action, but I'm just going to keep telling myself that I'm doing the best I can. I want to do more. I know that I'm capable of it, but you stay in this ever go round of, I want to give myself grace, so I give it. But then I find I'm sitting too long in the season of, I'm not taking any action, or the action I am taking, it almost feels fruitless because I'm too much in my head for my action to be potent. You know what I mean? Like my action is lackluster because the language I have towards it too is diminishing everything. You know what I mean? Like your words are like wrecking balls if it's negative, if it's constantly beating you down. And so this video today literally is just to give encouragement also, and to bring awareness to how, again, how your softness, or how your softness can, without knowing it, can create timidness, how it can create some inability to take action, and or to take action with umph. You know what I mean? So I encourage you to sit down with yourself and to really reflect on the action you've been taking lately. Ask yourself, what habits have I been shying away from? Reflect on them. Like, okay, why? First of all, what is the value of this habit? What does it mean to me? What value does it have? How can it improve my life? Identify that. If after that you deem it worthy, okay, if it's worthy, what's keeping me from doing it? What narrative comes up every time I feel triggered to do this habit but don't? What am I telling myself? And then reflect on, if I felt supported, what would that look like? What would that support look like? And how would that in return increase or improve my traction with this goal? Sit down with yourself and identify, like, and be transparent. More importantly, is to reflect and say, okay, where am I perhaps being too soft? Like, let's, without holding anything back, and also telling yourself, like, without judgment, like, I'm not here to judge myself. I just want to be transparent and speak plainly from my heart space. What comes out, write that down. And you may find, like, dang, yep, totally resonate with that. I don't know why it's been hard to face that, but I'm ready to face that, and to come to terms with whatever I need to support myself in these aspects, so that I can face and overcome those blockages. You know what I mean? But to do so, you have to be transparent. You have to be honest with yourself. And this is where this video started for me, is being transparent about, hey, like, where am I at on these goals? I've been saying I want to accomplish X, Y, and Z. Phenomenal. That's great. Where am I at? And I notice I've kept saying, well, I'm doing what I can. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. And that's awesome. That is. And I also am aware that I could be a perfectionist. So it's very well that I'm doing a lot, but then I see it as not enough just because of the standards I have for myself. But as I've been saying in this video, is that being honest, being transparent is so important with yourself, because I've been able to reflect and say, okay, let me just write down the effort I've been putting in. What have I been able to accomplish day to day over the past month or 2 months? And by writing it down, I'm able to see, oh no, I've really been doing a lot. And what I see the pattern is, yes, I've been doing things, but I can see where that self-narrative of I need to do more comes from. It's because instead of taking action on that, I'm holding myself back and I'm calling it grace, and that can be a heavy truth to come to terms with, because it's like, dang, do I need to reclaim what grace means to me? Like, Okay. And no, what instead I see it as an opportunity to love myself harder. And what I mean by this is, and this is me to me, this is what it sounds like, Raven. I love you. You mean the world to me. Your dreams mean the world to me. I need you to mean it. I need you to wake up each and every day and mean it. Now, set goals. Nothing about that goal changes. And if something needs to, it's just the parameters. Meaning you still accomplish the goal, but maybe you need to fractionalize it, right? Like, there are days where you just don't have the energy, and that's okay. So does that mean you don't do nothing at all? Maybe some days, yes. But most of the time, let it be just at least a fraction of your goal. So if I want to work out every day, but there's days where I'm actually tired or I feel my body needs more rest than usual, cool. Could I maybe do a light walk, like 10-minute walk around the block, just to get my blood flowing, just to move my body? Yeah, I could do that. And it's still in alignment with the goal I've set for myself. But it's allowing myself grace, but not in a way where I start to reverse in the habits that I'm building. It can be difficult to be self-aware of, okay, is this grace or am I self-sabotaging because I'm being too soft with myself? It takes self-awareness. So in building self-awareness, and so that means taking time to really reflect on your habits, reflect on what you've been able to accomplish, what you've been able to create, or whatever your terms are, right? Reflect on that and sit down and how does that add up to what you want? How does that align with what you want? And be real about that. And so then going forward, you could be real about the action you take. You could be intentional about the action you take, and it's not just taking action for the heck of it. You know what I mean? And to ensure that you're being accountable to yourself, because again, so often after a time, after a season of just sitting, on the bench from taking action because ooh, it's just not the season for it. Ooh, I need more rest. Ooh, I'm just feeling heavy. After a while, it sounds like, woe is me. And that's for you to reflect on. No one can tell you it's that. Only you can. And at first, it's going to feel confrontational. At first, it's going to feel like, oh, I'm being a jerk to me, or, I shouldn't be that hard on myself. And then, believe it or not, that's what intensifies the cycle, because now you think it's not okay to encourage emotional stamina, because that's what all it is. It's energetic stamina that you're building up when you identify truthfully, okay, this is the effort I've been putting in. Is this the actual output I can deliver at this time? And if it's not, then it's okay, how can I hold myself accountable to the truth of my output at this time, the truth of my energetic abilities at this time, which is, how can I empower myself? How can I motivate myself? That takes action, that takes effort, and being able to identify that it's just a switch of your narrative, it's just a switch of like what you're telling yourself. That's important, and that's accountability. That's what self-love looks like. When you're able to identify, like, okay, absolutely, I've been talking garbage to myself, and when I look around the effort I've been putting out, you know what I mean? And face yourself in that way. And that's okay. Reclaim what it means to go toe to toe with yourself, and know that that's not a bad thing. It's you being self accountable. It's you reflecting on what's real and what's trying to keep you safe, when in actuality there may not be any reason to. You may be in the safest season of your life, yet you're feeling like, oh no, not yet, rest, or oh, it's okay that I take more weeks off. It's okay. Reflect on that is all. Reflect on it, and know that you have the support, that you are not as easily, broken as you may think, and that it's okay to keep pushing. It's okay to find that sweet spot of, okay, yeah, I feel like I could take a break, but you know what? I'll do at least one. It literally starts there. I encourage you to reclaim your self-narrative in a way that empowers you, and to allow grace to be the support you need, but not the cage that keeps you in your safe space. So I am sending you much love and light. I pray that while on your journey, that you continue to face yourself with love, even in times where it may feel combative, even in times where it may feel like, ooh, this feels uneasy, this feels difficult. Know that you are worthy of love, even in that season. In every season, you are worthy. And that by facing the things that make you feel safe, on the other side of it, you find everything that your potential says you've been capable of the whole time. So venture off, know that you are safe, know that you got it, that you are strong enough, that you are resilient enough, that you are capable, you are whole, you came into this world complete, you are enough. So anything that you face within you, you are capable of overcoming. You got it. I'm here with you. Hit me up in the comments if there's anything you'd like to talk about. Tell me what you've overcome. Tell me what safety has been looking like for you, and how maybe giving yourself grace can be reclaimed, and what it may mean for you going forward. I want to know. Okay, so have a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. Take care.